These demonstrators have been very clear in what they've wanted to say. They want to say that fuel prices are getting too high. They want to say they're unhappy with the current government headed up by Emmanuel Macron. They were invited to a meeting on Friday by the Prime Minister of France. That meeting, well, it turned into an absolute farce. Only 2 out of the 6 main leaders that were expected to turn up did turn up. Out of those 2, one of them left after less than 2 minutes. This is a very, very fluid situation. We see riot police moving in. One of the demonstrators falling to the floor right there. Actually, Actually, as we move into this, we're seeing rioters, riot police, tear gas, everything you can possibly imagine as they try and take away that one person who fell to the floor. I'm just next to where you've actually shown those pictures from. There was a, to paint a picture of what the situation looks like here at the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, is you have a central nucleus of police in full riot gear, fully equipped. We're actually seeing tear gas flying over our heads right now. I'm going to be moving out of the way as I'm talking to you. That's really not safe for me to be stood there doing that. It's also not, to just explain what was happening, the police that you can see located just over there, which was exactly 180 degrees from where I was facing, they just fired several rounds dangerously close over my head right then. That's something I've certainly never seen by any riot suppression force used in Europe. There have been numerous incidents of people being hit with rubber bullets. Our colleague Luc Leger's off to hospital. I was hit in the ankle with one myself. Thankfully, my boot bearing most of the brunt of that. But those demonstrators that I spoke to, they say they aren't going anywhere. And they told me exactly why. They've come here this Saturday to say no to the rise in fuel prices, but also to say no to President Emmanuel Macron.
Humanity should be put first, not money. It's not impossible. You know, you come to these protests because you don't have enough money to survive till the end of the month. Then you find out you are more privileged than the others there because you earn more than €1,000 a month.
We are already working on minimal tariffs for social insurance, and I don't understand what will be next. I'd like to be sure we can do the best we can to provide good conditions for patients. I don't know for sure who's to blame for escalating the situation, the police or the yellow vests. But now I'm fully on the side of protesters, as long as they're peaceful.
Macron is not credible. He wasn't credible even at the time of the election. About 80% of the population stand by the Yellow Vest movement. That indicates that France faces a huge number of issues. We'll do everything to make Emmanuel Macron resign.
We are being taxed from all sides. We work, we study, we raise our children, and we are overtaxed. So stop moving the problem aside.
Well, even the time that soundbite was running, we're seeing more and more problems spark up around here. There's a fire here set up as a blockade across the street of one of the streets off Avenue Freiband. And this certainly isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And one of the big issues that I am seeing from this whole situation in Paris is that it's not just one nucleus. There isn't just one group that the police are trying to contain. What we are seeing is numerous groups, each with equal anger and intent. Opinions and emotions are certainly running high here in Paris right now. We've seen, and as we saw while I was trying to speak to you earlier on, a number of people incredibly upset, particularly with the French media. They thought we were from one of the French broadcasters. They were insisting that we stopped broadcasting once we told them that we weren't. Well, now we've been allowed to again. Speaking to a large amount of the police that have been taking part in this operation in Paris on Saturday, you'd be surprised how many were willing to say off camera that they were actually in support of those that were demonstrating against lower fuel costs. However, that certainly wasn't represented in some of the violent scenes that we've seen from, I say, violence from police towards demonstrators, also from demonstrators towards police. Really uncomfortable scenes that we've seen throughout Saturday here in the French capital. I would expect that if there's no solution found during the week, we would be seeing the same types of violent clashes again and again and again here in the French capital until this is sorted out.
RT spoke direct to the head of France's police trade union, who says the protesters are largely supported, as Pete was saying there, by those tasked with keeping order.
In fact, most of my colleagues support the Yellow Vest movement, as we are affected a lot by the fuel price rise too. We can't live there, where we work, either because it costs too much or because we have to arrest our neighbours. Our colleagues on the ground have to follow the orders of those who are not on the ground.
We spoke to the mayor of one Paris suburb who told us it could be dangerous for Emmanuel Macron now to stay on course with his reforms here.
I'm pretty sure that Macron is going to lose the European election, which is coming in next year. And in fact, he has already lost them. You know, he tries, in fact, to appear as somebody who holds his promises. And he doesn't want to change of policy. And I think this is very dangerous. Of course, no elected man, no mayor, no MP can, admit those violence in Paris, especially on the Champs-Élysées. This is absolutely unbearable. But it only shows that those turmoil represent, a deep depressed, a deep concern of the French nation. And I think that the best way to stop this, because this will carry on, is that the government changes its policy.